seen us in our glory, man. I've seen us in our excellence. You know? And, you know, they haven't seen that. You see, these Europeans only know us in terms of what they've done to us. Slavery. Our enslavement. They look at us as slaves. They look at us as slaves. We need to get back in our glory. Right? We need to step up and be who we want. You know, Brother Malcolm influenced all of our lives. You know, I'm Malcolm, you're Malcolm, everybody in here is Malcolm. Because his spirit infuses our soul. The light of his spirit is the light of our spirit. We all feel what he felt. Because all of us, every African in America, every African in this world, was born of struggle. If you read the history of our journey from the caves of South Africa all the way to the civilization we created in the Sahara Desert, you'd know we were fused by struggle. So the struggle that we're in right now, this is nothing. We are a sleeping giant. See the stuff that we're saying to each other, the stuff that Brother Malcolm was saying? Brother Malcolm was only reminding you of what you already know. What's already in your instincts, what's already in your genes to make you struggle. He was waking you up. He was shaking you. Wake up, brother. This is what you need to do. You already have it in you. He wasn't educating you. He wasn't teaching you anything. He was waking you up because you got it in you. Because God created you. Got to open our ears. Got to open our eyes. And this time, we need to take heed. We need to listen and never, ever forget. Now, the thing about Brother Malcolm, he opened my eyes. You know, when I was behind the walls, we all been behind the wall. When I was behind the wall, I studied the Eurocentric education, the Eurocentric knowledge. I studied biology, I studied psychology, I studied everything. But in a way to improve my own criminality. I wanted to be slick. I wanted to do everything that everybody else was doing, but I wanted to be the best at it. Until I read the autobiography of Malcolm X. And the brother that gave me that book is a brother that's still behind that wall right now, Brother Albert Woodfox. You know, and that's a political warrior. We need to do something about standing up for him. Now the thing is, he also gave me another book that literally transformed my point of view. And that was The Destruction of Black Civilization. Once I read that book, I didn't want to hear anything else, because all of the years that I had struggled, that I had studied, I realized I was studying African history. All of it. Because knowledge is a continuum. I don't care who did it or who thought it up. It's all a continuum. It's the same knowledge. Some people might express it in view of their agenda, in view of what they want to extract from you or how they want to control you. But it's all the same knowledge. Now, but where did knowledge start? It started in Africa 80,000 years ago. It all started there, where we come from, where God created us. In that area between the Congo and where Niger and Cameroon, and that area right up there. And then it spread out around. See, everybody talk about Egypt, man. Egypt ain't nothing. Egypt. See, the pygmies were us in proto-history. Way back in the eons of the mist. You know? They were the first people. You see, they were the first. Yeah, they were revered. Yeah. See, joking, but the thing about it, they were revered. When people saw pygmies, they oh, you know, because they know this is the original people. You see, we only became symmetrically tall and physiologically well built because of that struggle. You know, we struggled from the jungles up to the caves, and then when that extinction, that disaster happened in Toba, that wiped out damn nigh 80% of all life on Earth, we had to move from South Africa, and we found that area right there in Tanzania, between Lake Victoria. We moved right there. We settled right there. And then, right there by Kilimanjaro. And then when Kilimanjaro started to erupt, we had flashbacks. And then we said, we got to get out of here. And some of us left. Not all of us, but some of us left. That's why, see, when at the fall of paradise, 1492, at the fall of paradise, you had Mali in the west to rise up and took and fought. And then when Arabian invasions happened and they took over Mali, then you had Niger, they rose up. See, we had kingdoms all over this place that would take the place of one that, if one fell, one would take its place. You see, we don't have that. That's why we're in the situation we're in right now. Because when one of us fall, you'll say, sorry, you know? Oh man, that was a good brother for that. You see, we don't have nobody to step up and take that brother's place and say, like when Malcolm got killed, we should have stepped up and said, I'm Malcolm. You know, and carried his struggle, because one of the reasons Malcolm was killed was because of the Pan-African movement that he started. That's one of the reasons. It was a CIA-inspired assassination, and they used one of us. See, we should have stepped up and said, you know, we taking over his movement. But once he fell, the movement fizzled. Crime, punishment, convicted. You know, they was using that against these people. Now, the law said, the union said, hey, we can't do that. You know, so we're going to enforce the 14th and 15th Amendment. Right here in this city, bro. Right here in New Orleans. They started murdering black people right up there on St. Charles Avenue. 1868. Right there in the French Quarter. Right there at the point. At the Elgin, where they get on that ferry. They murdered 125 black people. And why? Because we were celebrating Reconstruction. You know, we were saying, man, we got political representation. We're free. You know, we could celebrate now. And we marched the streets, and they come out there with shotguns. And they ended that celebration with murder. The history of white supremacy is drenched in blood. Once they regulated those black codes, you got to look at it. It was illegitimate. It was unconstitutional, and it was illegal. And why? Because they were still in secession from the United States. It wasn't even part of the Union. So how in the hell can a defeated state that wasn't even part of this Union can regulate laws against you? Laws that impacted us as a people, a whole people. Because that thing in the 13th Amendment is directed directly at you. Crime, punishment, convicted. 3 words. And those words are being used against you right now. And you know what the combination of those 3 words is? That wall, behind that wall, that penitentiary. Every one of us that's been behind that wall, we've been played, bro. We've been used. We've been had. And the only way you can break the back of that manipulation that's going on, that's controlling your life, is by education. By unity. By breaking away from them and doing for us. Look at the person that's next to you. You see anybody white up there? You see anybody Vietnamese or Spanish? You see your brother. You see your sister. We need to depend on us, ourselves, like the brother just said. Stop selling out. You know, one of the reasons I went behind that wall because somebody like me ratted on me. They ratted on me. Now the thing is, we need to stop selling out, like the brother said. I understood exactly what he was saying. Now the thing is, once this manipulation happened, and then you said, well, how can states, governments that weren't part of the United States, how could they regulate laws against us? And they ain't even part of the United States. Because they had help in the North. They had help with the Republicans. The Republican Party then is like the Democratic Party now. They were in our favor. But if the Democrats would have been in our favor, we would have been Democrats instead of Republicans. Like some brothers try to use this thing that Frederick Douglass, that's the party of Frederick Douglass. No, it ain't the party of Frederick Douglass. He tried to create his own political party. You know, so none of this is new. You see, what the thing is, the political, social, and economic situation in this country is against us. Because we are the ones that made this country great. Us. Our label. And it is written in the secession papers of every southern state that seceded from the United States. Because they say, man, why you want to get rid of slavery? And this is the most lucrative enterprise that we ever had to enjoy. Free labor, come on, man. Y'all want to get rid of this? And if y'all trying to get rid of it, we'd rather not be a part of your country. And they backed away. This is written, these are documents. I'm not telling you something that I'm thinking of or something that I'd have made up. I'm telling you facts from the record, from documentation. We all been played. We need to stop this. And the thing is, it's still happening right now. Because that 3 cold words, crime, punishment, convicted, it's still using that against you right now. All of the little kids that's out there on the street killing one another, they're being played. Because they'll take that ignorant little kid, first they're going to destroy the educational system. That's what they're doing right now. They're destroying your educational system. You're going to make a child with a substandard education, can't think, you know, because he's a kid, his mind ain't fully developed. You're going to put some guns and some drugs in his hand, and then say, put it on out there, boy, and do what I want you to do. And they go out there and do it. They're killing one another on the streets from the drugs and the money, because this culture has been going on so long, since the 1940s. I mean, I was a dope fiend. We were all dope fiends. We were all given to that manipulation, because we are being played, we are being manipulated. They put the drugs in our community, they put them in the hands of some sellout, irresponsible brother. He brings it to you because anybody that would give you anything that would try to hurt you, or that would alter your life, that's your enemy. That's somebody that's trying to kill you. But you'll say, that's my boy, I love you. Oh, you give me that thing, man. That's all right, bro. You know, no, it wasn't all right. He was trying to kill you. Recognize that and walk away from him or get away from him. You see, now the thing is, because it's been affecting us for too long. You know, for as long as I can remember. And the thing is, you put these illegal drugs, you get these drugs from these gun runners, you get these drugs from these police, you get them guns from them foreigners. You know, you go to the gun shows, they got women out there, come on, I'll look you up, brother. You know, and buy that little boy a gun, and they can't shoot them guns. Why do you think they use Uzis and these spray guns? Because they can't shoot straight. And then they get out there and just spray everything in hopes of shooting somebody that they're trying to shoot. And they end up shooting everybody except the one that they're trying to shoot. I mean, come on, you know, I mean, we had training when we was coming up. We know how to shoot guns. And you didn't have to use no Uzi or no tech in order to take care of your business. You know how to use the firearm. But these little boys don't know how to use no firearms, and they give them those weapons of mass destruction, and they'll shoot up everybody, even little babies. You see? And then they say, oh man, don't hate the player, hate the game. No, I hate the game and the player. You know, because you're being played, bro. You need to be educated in your history. You need to be educated and understand what you are doing, not only to yourself, but to your people. Because look what your police chief telling you, saying, oh, they clearly know each other. They're criminals. You know, look what your mayor saying. They all know each other. You know, they're a family of criminals. So think about those code words. Crime, punishment, convicted, criminalizing a race of people. And if you think that those three code words in that 13th Amendment is just criminalizing you or enslaving you, it's open the door. It's opening the door for you to go back into that enslavement. And that enslavement, it culminates right there in the penitentiary. And then once you go to that penitentiary, once you go back to town to that jail, even get a traffic ticket, you're gonna be processed and fingerprinted, and that will be used against you for any job, any credit, anything that you try to apply for. A house, a car. Oh man, wow, look, you got bad credit. Oh man, you got a record. For what? Spitting on the ground? You know, I mean, you know, there was arresting people for walking without shoes. Come on. It's all the same hatred. It's all involved in the same hatred, the same evil that happened from 146 years ago up to now. You know, you see, and the thing is, it's not hate. It's not, they don't hate us. It's business. You know, because it's about the dollar. You know, and we could do something about that, like you doing. This is one example. Don't you know, our economic success, our economic strength, gonna come from a grassroots level. It's not gonna start from the top down. It's gonna start from the ground up. Small businesses like Brother Askew Place, he got a stand on Canal Street. Like this brother here got a gym and a recycling thing. You know, one sister got a thrift store. These places expand and expand until they get big, into a department store, to this. But why do you think Circle ain't open yet? And then right across the street from Circle, you got the Circle Meat Market. Why do you think that? And I know the brothers that own Circle. Those fees, the insurance, everything was raised up so high once they balanced the cost of opening with the cost of staying open, they got out of the business and said, man, I can't open this place because we ain't going to make no money because of the fees, the insurance, the permits. They gouged those guys. But look right across the street. You got the Circle Meat Market, and they're doing good. You see, look at Brother Mike out there in the East. You know, that guy that went from Poydras, uptown on Ferret to Poydras, all the way to New Orleans East before he got his grounding in New Orleans. I mean, in Gentilly, at Big Shirley's. You see, but the thing is, he struggled. He was determined. That African spirit came out of him when he was denied on Ferret. Then he was denied on Poydras. You could see that African spirit building up in him, saying, "No, man, no, I'm not sitting down for this." No, and then he went to Gentilly, around his people, and that's where he grew his roots. And now he's selling. You see, but the thing is, we need to break the back of that slavery that's going on with us right now. Because why do you think a white man could just walk up to you and say, "Hey, boy," or say, "Bubba, you know, what you doing?" You see, because he feel like I got the right to do that. Because I don't have any duty to respect your rights as a black man. You see, it's white supremacy. It's that hubris. It's that arrogance that would force him to walk up to you or just walk in the middle of the street in moving traffic and cause a stop for him. But let somebody black walk across that street, they'll knock you'll be in the air, bro. You see, because they don't have a duty to respect you. And all of this is continuity. All of this flows in a continuous action. I read a book one time that's called The Present as History. And in this book, it showed how something could happen 100 years and that same effect will continue on to the present. And people would think that, oh, because there's different players in the game, that it's a different action. No, it's the same action that started from 100 years ago all the way to the present. You just got different players, but it's the same action. And it's the same thing that's going on with us. You see, we need to learn our history. We need to learn who we are. We need to get back in touch with our spirit. We need to connect that conscious spirit that our ancestors had. Don't you know, our ancestors looked up in the sky, sisters, you know, out there gathering and collecting food. And they looked up in the sky and they saw a star in the sky during the daytime. This star, and it had to be bright because it was daylight and that star was shining. And they wanted to know, what was this star? And they woke up that next morning, the star was there. You know, and they started watching that star, and they started tracking that star. And the star is called Sirius now. And they wanted to know, why is that star shining so brightly, and why do it appear at this time of day, every day? And they watched that star for a long time. And then one time, the star disappeared. And then the next year, it came back. Now, they wanted to know, we got seasons on earth. You know, we got summer, winter, fall, spring. You also have seasons in our planetary system, which is the zodiac, Libra and all of that, Gemini, Capricorn. But then they realized there's also seasons in the universe. And this one star can prove it. So they started creating observatories, these little circles, all over Africa, stones. But he would watch this star come up on the horizon. Track that star. And I mean, they didn't just say, well, if I die, this gonna die with me. They left records for their children and for other ones to follow them and show this star stopped here. You know, this is where you continue. And that person would read those records and they'll continue at that point. And Easter Island is one of them. Easter Island is one of the biggest. But every pyramid, all over the earth, even the mounds that was found here in Louisiana in 3800 BC, that date back to 3800 BC. All of these things were ancient observatories. For what? Tracking one star. One star. And each season of that star, and they found out that each season of that star was 6,480 years. 6,480 years. From spring to summer. From summer to fall. And from fall to winter. 6,400 years. Add up 6,480 times 4. And they found out that it took 25,920 years for that star to circumnavigate the whole of the universe. And it took them 25,920 years to find that out. And I mean, one person didn't do it. It was a generational effort. They passed that knowledge on from one to the next one. Take this knowledge, use it, bring it further. Each person that took that knowledge and picked that knowledge up carried it on and built up on it until they realized it took 25,920 years. And you know what people say, oh man, it's 2012, 2000, December 21, we all gonna die. We ain't gonna die. That's the start of a new galactic year, bro. It's the start of a new galactic year. We ain't gonna die. That's why the Mayan calendar ended. Because it's the beginning of a new year. And they couldn't trace that other year, the next galactic year, because by then the Spanish had to took them over and wiped them out. So I said all that to say that our effort, the whole struggle that we've been involved in, it should have been a generational effort. But with that divide that is within us. And you know where that divide comes from? You know, it's an innocent thing, right? Because in our ancient society, everybody were taught everything of that society. They were taught everything: welding, pottery, ironwork, building. Whereas, and they started with little children from 6 years old on up. And they went to school at the Gemma, the Père Sophie, and the Père, which is the Père Sophie means the house of knowledge. Père is the house of wisdom. Père Sophie is the house of wisdom. The Père is the house of life. They took these little guys, these little children, educated them, everything, every aspect of that society. And you know why they did that? Because you had about, if they got 20,000 people in that society, you had 20,000 geniuses. Where even a little bitty child could debate a grown man. You know, that's how much knowledge these people had. Because they passed that on. And the reason they did that was because of that struggle that we had from South Africa up to the Sahara Desert. Because every disaster, every catastrophe, we lost a leader. You know, and the loss of a leader meant the collapse of that society. So to ensure that we didn't collapse again, we created future leaders by educating everybody. Where if anything was to happen, you could step up, you could step up, you could step up. And take that leadership and bring the people forward. There was a forward movement. It wasn't going back, it was a forward movement. This is why that white man looked at us and said, because we had so many genes, you didn't have to tell nobody. You did what you had to do, you did what you had to do. Nobody, they didn't have nobody want to pick up that boy and get that, or mop that floor, you know. You didn't have nobody doing that because people did what they did because this is what they do. You didn't have to tell nobody what to do. So we walked around with no bosses because everybody was his own boss. You see this, Europeans see this and they divided. You know, we can use this. And that's what's been used and has been turned against us as what? Self-hatred. You know, they can't get along. You put two black men in a room, you know, you can't get nothing done. You know, lunchtime come, everybody sit down. You see, and we forgot through this ordeal, through our Holocaust. That's one reason Malcolm X stopped his deaf, dumb, and blind speech. You see, because he said that, what do I look like deriding my people? You see, when I am my people. If I deride you, I'm deriding myself also. You see, one of the things that made that Little Africa movement that started in 1881 strong was because we didn't have any political representation then. Man, they was hanging a nigger a day back then. You see, there were savaging people back then. You see, they call it the nigger barbecue, the picnic. You see, where they would roast you and then dismember you and take pictures, you know, holding the body part up. I mean, one of the reasons we were successful then was because of brothers like you, We ensured that we represented our people. We went to the white politicians and we lobbied for our people. You know, if we needed something, we go to this brother would go to him, and that brother, there wasn't no selling out because that brother had to come home. And if he came home and he had been sold out, you know, oh man, he got tarred and feathered, you see. And they knew that if my people fail, I'm going to fail too. Because if I sell my people out just for the sake of that dollar, and then they fall, and that white man look around and say, I don't have nobody black to fuck over. You know, and then he look at you and say, oh, that's right there. I don't care how much money you got. Look at William Jefferson, bro. You see, the sellouts. Look at Tiger Woods. Look at O.J. Simpson. Michael Jordan. They were sellouts. You see, but every time they got on them, what he came running back to, bro? Was running back to us, bro. And we are forgiving, spiritual type of people. You see, and this is the thing that because we were educational, man. We didn't go around in ancient times. We didn't go around conquering people, bro. Every land that we went into, we elevated that land, bro. We educated those people. We sublimated them. You see? But when they came in our country, they invaded. They shed blood. When we learned how to fight, believe me, once we learned something, we good at it. You know, we experts. And once we learned how to fight, boy, look, they knew. We messed up. We woke up this sleeping giant, you know. You see, because once we learned how to fight, man, we were the fighting machine of the world. run away and come to New Orleans, man, you know. And, you know, you're not part of the struggle. I mean, you know, and then people will say, well, let's look out for him, you know, give him a little something. You know, and they'll look out, or you might find somebody that just want to have a little more fun than everybody else. You know, they live high, you know, above their means, you know. You see, and they would squander their money in, or their property or their land, and it would affect their children. And, you know, to teach them a hard lesson, we kind of back away from them and let them struggle. And then when they struggle too much, then, you know, when that struggle get a little severe, then we'll step in and say, look, next time, you know, manage your money, you know, do it right next time, you see. You know, but it wasn't all of that. Now, the thing that stopped that, it was those invasions. Now, we were getting ready to fight back. See the Niagara movement that happened with Frederick McGee, Dubois, Trotter. Those people called all of the intelligentsia in the black community in order to get a declaration of war going. And they was going to do it legally first. Let's follow due process of law. Let's ask for our rights, human rights, as men and women of this earth. And we're going to sue legally for it. And if they don't give it to us legally, then we're going to fight. Because you had guys that was in the Spanish-American War. You had guys that was fought in the Civil War. And they was ready to fight. You see, because people got fed up with the bullshit, right? You know? You see, and they say, you know, if he don't give us what we naturally should have, we're going to fight for it. And they got it. You know, but you know what happened? A lot of people think that the NAACP was started by what? That the NAACP was started by black people. It wasn't. It was started by Jewish lawyers, Jewish business people. And it was started to counteract the Niagara Movement. Because they knew if we don't give them their rights, we're going to have a second civil war in our land. And they stepped in to counteract that movement and to counteract a disaster that would have struck this nation, because it would have been a black and white war. It wouldn't have been white on white. It would have been a black on white war. You know, now the thing is, that's what happened with us. We allowed other people to come in, take over. You know, any white man that come into your midst, you got a business, he's gonna take over. Then when he take over, he gonna bring his friends in. And then the next thing you know, you gonna be pushed out. You the owner of the company, and they gonna push you out. You see? And the thing is, we need to learn how to get along with one another and do this for ourselves. You know, and the next time we do it, and that pig getting our way, just use him like a rug. Walk over him. You see, because me, personally, if any one of them get in my way, I'm going to walk on him. I'm going to leave my footprints in his back. You see, because they're not going to get in my way. You see, I'm good at what I do. I'm the best at what I do. And if one of them try to get in my way, he's in trouble. You know, and I not only would I walk on him, if he get up and try to fight, I'll beat his ass. You see, and the thing is, we need to do that. You know, say for instance, we could start, they're not giving our children no educational stuff. Start a vocational class. You know, start something vocational to give these guys some marketable skills. You know, because most of these little kids, the only thing they know is what that pig to put in their hands. Drugs and guns. I mean, what is America good for right now? Sex, drugs, music, you know. I I mean, America haven't created nothing since the internet. You see, and what is the internet? Who is the internet making money for? You? Me? You know, look what they did with Rhode Island. You know, they sent that money here. And they said, oh no, we can't give it to them because, you know, just like a child with a sharp edged object, it might hurt their soul. you know, so we can't give them all of that money because, you know, they're going to buy these big wheel cars, you know, use all of the stereotypes, the big wheel cars, you know, the jewelry, you know, they're going to be wearing the clothes, you know. You see, they use all of those keywords, all of those stereotypical words to describe us. And we didn't get it. Not one of us. Why you don't hear the same complaints out of Mississippi, Florida, or Houston that you hear right here in this city? Because they played us. You know, and we need to stop being played with. You know, see that thing in that 13th Amendment? We need to rally and get that out of that amendment. Because as long as that exception is in that amendment, they're going to always treat us in a second class or disrespectful manner. You know, I mean, because it's law. You know, it's the law. So what's going to stop them from doing what they really want to do? And the law is on their side. You see, look at Plessy. You know, Plessy lost his rights and entered segregation into this country through the 13th Amendment. The 13th Amendment was used to certify that Plessy ruling and to introduce Jim Crow in this society. Not the 13th Amendment itself, because when you look at the 13th Amendment without that exception in it, it'll tell you straight up, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude shall exist within any place or any holdings in the United States of America. Period. But with that exception wedged right in the middle of it, it not only opposes itself, it opposes the 14th and the 15th Amendments. And it gives them the right to what? No white man got a duty to respect you because you ain't a citizen of the United States. You're a slave. How can we respect the rights of a slave? You see? So, you know, we need to rally to get that out. And then we need to step up as men and sisters for our children, for the future of our children, and move and take that forward movement into the future. If it's not a forward movement to Africa and you want to stay here, we need to certify our rights in this country. Not no civil rights, our human rights.